Hi, I'm Clyde Drexler. I'm going to show you how to play small forward. Let's jam. Basketball is about motion. You need to be quick and graceful, and all your movements begin with your stance. On offense or defense, the goal of your stance is balance. Don't waste your moves. You need to be calm, steady, and ready for anything. And here are the basics.
Have your head centers, shoulders back, and legs bent. Stay low. Keep your feet shoulder width apart, with most of your weight on the balls of your feet.
On offense, there are two basic positions, the stagger stance and the parallel stance.
Use the staggered stance most of the time to move quickly in any direction. You use the parallel stance for stopping and moving laterally.
When you receive the ball on offense, be ready to pass, shoot, or dribble. This is called the triple threat position.
Bring the ball in front of your chest near your dominant shoulder. This is the shooting pocket. Keep your head up, your knees bent, and your feet shoulder width apart. Square your shoulders to the basket. Look at the hoop and be alert. Bring the ball in front of your chest near your dominant shoulder. This is the shooting pocket. Keep your head up, your knees bent, and your feet shoulder width apart. Square your shoulders to the basket. Look at the hoop and be alert.
When you don't have the ball, you need to be in the ready position at all times.
Keep your knees bent, with your hands above your waist and close to your body for balance. Watch your defender and the ball handler. Be ready to push off the ball of your foot in any direction.
As a small forward, you need to do it all. You need power moves to drive to the basket, and you need speed to get down court on the fast break. How you start your movement is very critical.
To start quickly to your right, shift your weight that way, using your head to lead the shift. Push hard off your left foot, step with your right foot, and follow with short, choppy steps. Pump your arms to accelerate and stay down.
On defense, you should use short, quick shuffle steps in a sliding motion.
To move to your left, take a short, quick slide step with your left foot pointed out. Push off with your right foot to transfer your weight left. Finish with a pulling slide step with your right foot to regain your stance. Practice starts and slides in all different directions.
Remember to keep your head level. That keeps you balanced and makes sure you don't waste any movement. Every movement you make should end with a clean, effective stop. You use the jump stop in most situations.
Take a slight jump with one foot and land in your stance with both feet. Have your knees bent, your head up, and your back straight. Do not bend at the waist.
To stop and change directions, use the stride stop.
For a stride stop, land with your rear foot first and your front foot last. This reverses your position.
Everyone practices shooting, but hardly anyone practices pivots. You don't get to shoot on every play, but you always have to move.
The pivot is the basic move for all changes in motion. Pivot on the ball with one foot while pushing forward or back with the other. Keep your head level and up, your knees bent, your feet wide apart.
So practice pivoting, forward and back with both feet until it becomes instinctive. In the game I play, the rim is 10 feet off the ground. Let's talk about jumping.
To jump from a standing position, push off with both feet and reach up with both hands. To jump from a run, push off with one foot, swing your arms, and step up towards the basket.
Always land in your stance. This gives you positioning and control for your next move.
Clyde Drexler was born in Houston, Texas in 1962. His mother supported her 7 boys and girls by working as a checker at a local food store.
My mother bought me my first basketball when I was in the 5th grade. And at the time, I thought it was very nice because I did like to play, but it was seasonal and you you only played when your friends played. And it was a big deal in my neighborhood to have your own ball. So I became a big shot for about a month until it was stolen from me.
The major influence in young Clyde's life was his older brother, James.
Well, my brother James was the first person to ever really give me instructions on how to play basketball. He's my older brother. He's 4 years older. And we both love to watch the game together. I think it was more of something that I enjoyed doing because I could do it with him. You know, you always want to follow what your big brother is doing. So I basically did it just to be with him.
When the Drexler boys couldn't make it to the courts, they practiced shooting at home without a hoop.
Quite often when I didn't make it to the court, or it was a rainy day, I would stand on my front porch and just shoot the ball on the roof line. And you had to shoot it just right to make it come back to you. So it kind of worked on your accuracy. And I think it's one of the reasons why I've always had a flat shot. Because the roof line is really not that tall.
Clyde's jump got better and better, but he soon discovered the move that would become his trademark.
Well, I made my first dunk at the age of 15 at my junior high school. And I was in the back courts, on the cement courts. And what they did was they raised the goals to about 11 feet so guys wouldn't tear the goals down when they were dunking. And so it was quite unfair at the time. But finally, at that age, I was able to finally dunk on these 11-foot goals. And I thought it was just the greatest thing. I thought I had invented something very new.
Academics came first in the Drexler household. When the Sterling High School basketball coach asked Clyde to try out for the team, 6'1" sophomore said no.
Basically, I didn't play my sophomore year because I really was into my studies. I was a pretty good student. I was into the martial arts, and basketball wasn't really a primary focus of mine. One, I didn't think I was good enough to play, and two, I kind of lost interest in the game.
Well, the next year, Clyde shot up to 6'4".
Because I began to grow, all of a sudden, everyone started to ask me, why don't you play? It's not good to be tall for nothing. And back then, you know, that was kind of the perception. You're tall, you must play basketball. And so I think that kind of peer pressure is what eventually led me to get back to the game.
Once he cleared it with his mother, Clyde became a standout player for Sterling High. He led his team to the Houston High School Finals. Within a city of great players, Drexler was not getting noticed.
I was in a very tough district with a lot of good players who were 6'6", 6'7", a lot of great competition. And I kind of went by unnoticed. I had pretty good skill, worked really hard. My team was very average. We played well sometimes, and sometimes we didn't. And so it was very easy to overlook a guy that wasn't on a great team.
Clyde's senior year, Sterling High entered the Houston JC tournament.
In my senior season in high school, I had a game where I scored 33 points and 34 rebounds. It was a pretty important game. We were playing a pretty good team. It was in like a tournament, one of those holiday tournaments. And that was the first time I think I caught the attention of a lot of scouts. And it was just a game where I was just very relaxed and tried to play the way I was capable of playing. And things just happened to work out. I think, you know, I like to thank my teammates for missing all of those shots.
Well, you know, Clyde was not that heavily recruited. Everybody knows that. Clyde knows that.
After Clyde's great performance in the JC tournament, a few colleges began to express interest, but scouts were not beating a path to his door.
Well, a very influential guy in my high school season in determining what university we were going to attend was Michael Young.
Clyde's good friend and league rival Michael Young was heavily recruited by schools all over Texas. The two friends made an agreement.
No matter what college it was, if he had visited a college that I had not, and they were interested in me, if Clyde was going there, I was definitely going, you know.
Both Clyde and Michael had grown up watching the University of Houston and the teams of Coach Guy Lewis. Michael was offered a scholarship. He told Lewis about Clyde.
He was recruiting me, and he was asking me about some more players here in the Houston area. And I know he had already known of Clyde Drexler, you know, and he just wanted to see what I would say. And I told him that by far, I think Clyde is one of the best players here in the Houston area.
When he called me to his office to finally meet him, I was shaking. I was dead scared. I'm a high school kid begging for a scholarship, basically, because I wasn't heavily recruited.
Both Clyde and Michael accepted scholarships at Houston, and while fans cheered the addition of Young, Lewis's decision to recruit Drexler actually produced hate mail.
Not only did they criticize me recruiting Clyde, they told me the player I should have recruited, who went to another university. The good answer to that is Clyde made All-American for us here and will be in the Hall of Fame as a basketball player. The one I should have recruited that went to the other university probably played it about 10 minutes in 4 years.
As a small forward, you need the ball handling skills of a guard. The basics of ball handling are dribbling, passing, and catching. The object of dribbling is to get into position for the shot or pass. And here are the basics.
Control the ball with your fingers. Keep the ball low to the ground. Remember, the ball must leave your hand before your pivot foot leaves the floor. Otherwise, it's traveling.
Dribbling is a touch skill, not a sight skill. Practice dribbling up the court without looking at the ball. It's all about control. The control dribble is the first dribble you should learn. The goal is simply to protect the ball.
Stay low with your ball side foot back. Dribble on away from the defender and use your free hand to protect the ball.
The floor is your friend. The lower you are to the ground, the more control you have. Sometimes you have to move with the ball in the open court. That's when you use the speed dribble.
Push the ball out in front and run after it. Keep it ahead of you. Dribble the ball near waist level for more speed.
When you go faster, you want the ball higher and farther out in front to match your speed.
If a defender threatens your dribble from the left, push the ball low and quickly across your body to your right hand. Bring your right leg and arm forward to protect it.
Make sure you use a crossover before the defender gets too close, or he might make the steal. If you're being closely guarded, you can use the spin dribble for maximum protection.
If you're guarded on the left, rear pivot on your left foot. Keep the ball next to your hip. 3/4 into your right turn, cross the ball over to your left hand. Plant your right foot and use your right hand to block the defender. Step with your left foot and dribble forward.
If you use the spin, watch out for blindside traps and the double team. If you're being heavily guarded, you just might want to back up. You use the rocker dribble to back up and get out of trouble.
Control dribble with your ball side foot forward. Slide step back, protecting the ball with your other arm. Then use a crossover dribble to change directions and keep moving.
Or you can pass.
The unique thing about Clyde, he started the first day of practice. And it was he just fit our system perfectly. He had everything that you'd want: speed, jumping ability, anticipation on defense, and the ability to cover the floor defensively as well as offensively.
Drexler averaged 12 points and 11 rebounds a game his freshman season and was voted the 1981 Southwest Conference Newcomer of the Year.
But at the end of that year, I was in the top 12 in rebounding, and I wasn't really impressed because we didn't have a really good year. I think we were 21-9 or 21-10, and I thought we had a much better chance of doing a lot better the following year.
While Clyde continued to develop on the court, Lewis was assembling a powerhouse team. In addition to Drexler and Young, he had recruited another top-ranked player in Larry Michaud. Then in the spring of 1981, the final piece of the puzzle fell into place.
And lo and behold, the same year, once we made our decision, a month later, Hakeem Olajuwon comes. What a storybook finish.
When I saw Clyde with the afro, I like his game right away, you know, offensively and defensively. He was everywhere. So when I found out that he would be on the team, I was very pleased and very happy that I'll be playing just to be on the team, on the same team with him.
In the 1981-82 season, the Houston Cougars began rampaging through the Southwest Conference.
We didn't play a slowdown game. We didn't play a structured game. We gave our players a lot of room to play and use their talent and not try to obstruct their talent, not try to slow them down when they ought to be going.
Clyde's scoring average jumped over 15 points a game, and he was a team leader in both steals and rebounds. Drexler was becoming a complete player.
You got to just know that it's a team game, continue to work hard, and do the best you can to help your team. And whether that's passing, dribbling, playing great defense, or getting extra rebounds, or making some steals, there are so many ways to contribute in the game.
Houston lost to Arkansas in the Southwest Conference Championship game, but they earned a berth in the NCAA tournament. The year before, Houston had lost to Villanova in the first round, and despite their regular season play, the Cougars were not favored to make the Final Four. But Coach Lewis had other ideas.
I had a really great group of guys that had their head on straight. They had good chemistry as a team. They got along with each other. They enjoyed being around each other. And when they came to practice with a mission to work hard.
Houston beat Alcorn State and Tulsa to set up a regional semifinal with highly ranked Missouri. The Cougars upset the Tigers by 1 point, then defeated Boston College to advance to the Final Four. Their opponents were the #1 ranked Tar Heels of North Carolina.
Well, that was the semifinal game in the 1982 Final Four. And both teams were very good. We didn't know much about North Carolina because we were the team that was on TV quite often, on national TV, although we knew that Dean Smith and his group always had a good group of players. I think Michael Jordan was a freshman. You had James Worthy, who was playing really well, and Sam Perkins. So they had some really good players.
To say the least. Houston lost to North Carolina 68-63, but in 5 tournament games, Clyde Drexler had averaged 16 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals. Just like the year before, he was named Team MVP.
I think my fondest memory of the 1982 season was basically just having the opportunity to come off of a Final Four appearance, to be on a good team for another whole year, where we had an opportunity to go back and possibly win it this year. If you don't have an open shot, dribbling is your second option for moving the ball. The pass is always the first option. The chest pass is the basic air pass. It's the most effective way to move the ball.
Hold the ball at your chest with your thumbs up. Push out and turn your arms so your thumbs are down.
Push your thumbs through the ball to give it back to you. If you have time to take a step forward when passing, do it.
For a stationary receiver, your target is the neck. For a moving receiver near a defender, your target is the outside hand or shoulder.
The bounce pass is a slow pass you can use to hit a moving receiver, like a guard cutting to the outside or moving to the hole.
Bounce pass is like a chest pass to the floor. Bounce it to hit your receiver at hip level. If he's running, make sure you hit him on the run. Give the ball backspin to make it easier to handle.
Bounce passes are good for getting around defenders. In emergencies, you can use one arm to block and make the bounce pass with your free hand. You use the baseball pass to pass for distance, especially when you're coming off the rebound.
Draw the ball back. Plant your back foot and step with your front foot. Flip the ball from behind your ear. Release with palm and thumb face down. Then follow through.
Remember, it's hard to be accurate with the baseball pass if you can't palm a basketball. So you might want to focus on the overhead pass. The overhead pass is good to use over defenders, like when you're trying to hit the center and the post.
Hold the ball with 2 hands. Extend your arms. Flip your wrists and turn your hands outward as you release. Aim for your receiver's target hand.
Whatever kind of pass you use, be quick, be accurate, and always make sure you have an open passing lane. The best shooters make about 50% of their shots, but a great passer hits every one of his passes. A good pass has to end with a good catch. As a small forward, you catch passes on the run in the open court and from your position on the wing.
Always give your passer a target. Block your defender and move towards the ball. For catches above the waist, use 2 hands pointing up. Below the waist, use two hands pointing down. For passes to the side, catch the ball and bring it into your body.
Always try to catch the ball with both feet in the air.
This lets you jump stop facing the direction you choose. Watch the ball into your hands and bring the ball into your body.
Get right into your triple threat position. Don't predetermine your move before you receive the ball. Receive the ball, read the defense, and then react.
Yes, I did have high expectations because we went to the Final Four in New Orleans in '82 and lost to North Carolina by 5 points, and that's a great team they had. So we had most of our players back. Yes, I felt like from the very beginning that we could go back.
Clyde's junior year, the Houston Cougars dunked the ball so often and so hard that Tommy Bonk of the Houston Post labeled them Phi Slamma Jamma.
Basically, we were an invincible team. But every day in practice, we worked extremely hard. We never gave up for 1 second, or we never got too fat thinking that we're just going to show up and beat teams.
Unlike the previous year, fans and sports writers now expected the Cougars to win their conference and return to the Final Four. For Clyde Drexler, these high expectations were unfamiliar territory.
It was a unique challenge, one that everyone expected us to do well. We had some incredibly talented coaches. We had some players who were willing to work hard, and just a great team attitude.
So we set it as our goal to do whatever it takes to go through our schedule, which was a tough schedule, and then to make the playoffs and then play them one game at a time to get to the Final Four. And fortunately, we succeeded in that.
In the NCAA tournament, the Cougars beat Maryland, Memphis State, Villanova, before reaching the semifinals and the Louisville Cardinals.
Well, that was supposed to be the best two teams in college basketball. For us, that was the important game. And across the country, across the world, that was supposed to be the true test of who was going to be the best team in college that year. You had the Doctors of Dunk from Louisville, and you had Phi Slamma Jamma from the University of Houston.
They were a pressing team just like we were. They had a big center like we did. They had big forwards like we did. They had good guards. They played 94-foot basketball, both offense and defense, just like we did.
You know, up-tempo, which was our style. So it was a fun game, you know, just up and down. Dunks, block shots back and forward. You know, Clyde was flying through the air. You know what I mean?
We were down at the half by, I believe, 8 points. They were doctor of dunking better than we were slamming and jamming. But we came back in the second half.
Clyde's dunks helped make the difference. The Cougars pulled ahead and beat Louisville 94-81.
But I tell you, the game wore us out. It wore Louisville out too. Their center went to the hospital with dehydration and all after the game. But our players were just dead. I mean, it was a battle of titans, and we won that game, but we were dead for the tournament.
In the finals, the exhausted Cougars faced North Carolina State. Houston built up a lead, but North Carolina State won it at the buzzer, 54-52.
The finals was a tough game for us. You know, we had the opportunity of winning the championship. But as you know, in basketball, it's never over until it's over.
North Carolina State was a team that not many people gave a chance to even make it to the Final Four, let alone win the whole thing. So I kind of believe that that was some kind of destiny for that team to win, because every game they played, they were winning on last-second shots all the way up until the final game. And, you know, give them credit for doing what they were able to get done. But I really believe that we were the best team in college basketball that particular year. Everything a team does on offense, moving, dribbling, passing, screening, it's all about getting a good shot. When you get a clear shot at the basket, you have to use the proper technique.
It begins with a balanced stance, feet ready, facing the basket. Grip the ball with your shooting hand, move the ball into shooting position. The right side of your head, if you're right-handed, with your wrist back and locked. Keep your elbow in, up at a 90-degree angle and in front of your wrist. For straight shots, your target is the rim or ring. For angled shots, your target is the upper corner of the rectangle closest to you. Point your elbow at the target. Thrust your fingers up and forward through the ball. Pretend you're shooting out at the top of a telephone booth. Extend your elbow and follow through. A jump shot uses the same mechanics as a set shot. Bend your knees to prime your legs, then jump straight up. Release at the top of your jump.
The layup is the most basic shot in basketball.
For a straight side layup, take your last dribble off your left foot. Step with your right leg, push off with your left foot. Carry the ball up to the basket with both hands. Then lay it off in the board with your right hand. Use your left hand to protect the ball.
Once you master the classic layup, move on to the reverse layup. That puts the rim between you and your defender.
Drive under the basket and lay the ball in off the board from the opposite side of the rim.
If you have the right combination of height and jumping ability, you might be able to dunk. No two dunks are exactly the same, but every dunk has the same objective, and that is to get the ball in the hole any way you can. Whatever technique you use, make sure you practice your dunks over and over again.
When shooting free throws, get into a routine. Relax and focus out distractions.
The free throw is a gift. No other sport gives you a free, uncontested shot at the goal. Take your time and put it in. It's good.
After the 1983 season, the Houston Cougars were looking to the future. So was Clyde Drexler. Though only a junior, he decided to leave the university and enter the NBA draft.
The last college game that I played with Clyde, we went back to the hotel. It was a very big loss for us.
Talked to him and I told him about my opportunities and that I would probably take advantage of it. And Mike was concerned about, are you sure? Are you sure you're going to go in the first round? You think you should wait another year and make sure of it? And I was thinking, no, I was pretty certain that I would go in the first round.
And he kind of talking about, he thought that was like his last game, and I was asking, was he for sure? And at that particular time, he didn't really tell me, but I think he just about had his mind made up, that he was leaving.
One, I knew coming back, the University of Houston had a lot of great players, a lot of great talent. I played against him in practice every day. I knew he had guys coming up that could take my place very easily. And to just justify my position, the next year they went back to the Final Four. So I was absolutely correct. Two, it had been a dream of mine for many, many years. And when I finally got the chance, you got to pursue your dreams.
It was kind of like an empty feeling for me, because I thought it was a package deal, We came to college together, we were going to leave together, but he had a great opportunity, and I was very happy for him.
Now, there was some talk about Akeem coming out early that same year. I did not think Akeem was ready.
Rumors circulated that both Drexler and Olajuwon were leaving, but Clyde kept postponing his decision, drawing criticism from the Houston press.
And I delayed it because I wanted to wait until the last possible minute so it wouldn't influence my teammate, Hakeem Olajuwon, who I thought would benefit from another year of college mentally and as well as physically.
Clyde drew the pressure onto him and away from Hakeem, who finally decided to stay at Houston another year. Now Clyde made the announcement that everybody was expecting. He was going to the NBA.
It was a tough decision to leave because this was like your family. You've seen these guys every day. You love them like a member of your own family. But at the same time, you're here, it's a business. And what you got to think about is your future.
Was Clyde ready to come out early in 1983? I'd have to say he was. Clyde was ready. He was a great player for us. He accomplished a lot of things here, and I felt like he was ready.
When I informed him of my decision to go hardship, Coach Lewis, being the man that he is, has always said, his one key statement was, be a man. Whatever you do, be a man.
Clyde was hoping to sign with the Rockets, but the first 3 picks came and went without him. Finally, the Portland Trail Blazers took him with their first-round pick, 14th overall.
I was elated. A lot of people thought I was going to go in the top 3 to the Houston Rockets. Didn't work out. At the last minute, they changed their mind, and I was pretty disappointed for a while, but I quickly got over it because I was having a chance to realize my dream, which was simply to play in the NBA.
The Trailblazers had won the NBA championship in 1977 with Bill Walton at center, but by the time Drexler arrived, they were a team in disarray. Though he played in all 82 games his first season, Drexler spent most of his minutes on the bench.
I had a coach by the name of Jack Ramsey, who was a great coach for a rookie or anyone beginning to play in the NBA, and it was a phenomenal experience. I learned a lot.
Ramsey wasn't sure which position was best suited for Drexler's skills, but by his second year, Clyde was playing most of his minutes at guard.
But I would still come off the bench in quite a few of the games. And finally, later on that year, I became a full-time starter, which was my second year in the league, about halfway through the season. So it was a tough adjustment for me.
Once Clyde started getting more minutes, his statistics took off.
In my first game as an NBA starter, I had 25 points and 17 rebounds. And it was only because another guy was hurt. So I think I became a starter by default. And even after that game, I had similar games like that.
Clyde's third year in Portland, he was named to the All-Star game for the first time. Drexler was now considered to be one of the league's elite players.
In my own life, I always think of it in terms of maximizing your abilities. And I think my best ability as a professional player has been my ability to compete. Just to try to be the best, to dare to be the best on whatever team you're on. And I think that's all you can ask of yourself. And I think that's the biggest contribution you can make to a team.
But as the 1980s rolled to a close, Clyde Drexler wanted more than NBA stardom. He wanted the NBA championship.
Your team's offense depends on your coach, but getting open is a basic skill every forward needs to master. To get open, you got to know about the cuts. Cuts are the moves you make to get open for the pass. The basic cut is the V cut.
Move into it slowly, then push off hard to change direction. Take a long stride past your defender.
Once you master the V, there are some basic cuts you need to know as a small forward. You use the back cut when the defender is denying you the pass.
Push off your outside foot and take a long step to the basket, or pivot on your inside foot and use a long crossover step to the hoop. Keep your eye on the ball and hold out a target hand for your passer.
This works if the defender is overplaying. If he's playing loose, you can use the L cut to go outside.
Move at the defender, then push off hard, cut to the wing. When you close the distance before you cut, you make it harder for the defender to react.
This gives you the opening. A cut guards use a lot is the inside cut.
The guard passes to you on the wing, then uses a V-cut to set up his defender. He cuts hard to the inside, creating an open passing lane. He's ready for the pass, and you can hit him in the low post.
We call that the give and go. Here's how to set a screen.
Plant your feet shoulder-width apart. Put your arms inside your waist. Square your back and brace for contact. When the defenders switch, you'll be open.
There are 3 basic screens you can set.
You use the down screen when you're moving to the baseline so your teammate can cut to the perimeter. You use the cross screen when you move across the court so your teammate can cut into the post. You use the back screen when you cut away from the basket so your teammate can cut to the hoop.
Setting a screen is the most unselfish thing you can do on offense. Here's the right way to receive a screen.
Give your teammate time to get set, to cut right, to take your defender to the left. Make a V-cut just before the screen and push your defender into your teammate. Make shoulder contact with the screener as you pass him. If you don't have the ball, get your hands up for the pass.
If your teammate sets a screen, make the most of it. If a guard is holding the ball on your side and your center makes a down screen, here are the basic cuts that you can take.
If your teammate sets down a screen, drive your defender into the screen and take a hard cut to the perimeter for the pass. If If your defender is behind and trailing, cut sharply off your teammate's down screen and curl around him to the basket.
The best way to get open on that curl is as you're going across your offensive guy, grab him by the waistline, like so, to accentuate your curl. So once you curl, it kind of improves your angle. You should be wide open for the easy layup. After you have successfully run the curl play, you have set him up for the fade. All you do now is he's going to be expecting the curl, and you just simply fade for the open shot.
If your defender beats the down screen, don't stop moving. Push hard off the floor and move inside, giving the guard a target for the pass.
Now remember, when you're in triple threat, you're in the offensive position. When you get ready to make your offensive move, the defense is going to try to force you to your weak hand. But if you practice equally with both hands, there won't be a weak hand, and you're ahead of the game. Coming off a rebound, a steal, or even a basket, the fast break is the quickest way for the offense to get down court. As a small forward, it's up to you and the two guards to make it happen. Let's go.
The point guard gets the outlet pass. You break up court to the right sideline. The off guard cuts to the left sideline. The point guard dribbles to the top of the key.
This position has you in one lane, a guard in the middle, and a guard in the opposite lane. You're facing two defensive players who've been waiting back. Now it's 3-on-2.
The off guard is the farthest down court, so he's the first option for a pass. He can drive to the basket or take the outside shot, or confuse the defense. He might pass back to the point guard.
As the small forward, you are the third option.
Cut from the outside to the blocks on the foul lane. Pivot and look for the pass. If you have an immediate open shot, take it. If you cut to the blocks and don't get a shot, stay and look for the rebound.
The key to the fast break is hustle. Hustle gets you in a 3-on-2 situation, which gets one of you open for the shot. Think and move quick, shoot smart, and don't stop moving. Lo and behold, we lost that year. The next year we lost in the Western Conference Finals with the Trailblazers. The next year we went back to the finals, so we were determined to get back.
Clyde the Glide was in his prime. A year after their tough loss to the Pistons, Portland blazed through the regular season, winning 63 games and losing only 19. In the Western Conference Finals, they lost a 6-game series to the Lakers. In 1992, the Trailblazers finished 57-25, the best record in the West. In the playoffs, Portland ran over L.A., Phoenix, and the Jazz to return to the finals for the second time in 3 years.
Well, in 1992, we were able to get back to the finals, and it was against the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls, the Trailblazers against the Bulls. And everyone billed that final as Michael Jordan against Clyde Drexler. In my mind, basketball is a team game and will always be a team game, regardless of how well one individual is.
The Bulls have won back-to-back titles and were looking to win 3 in a row. Clyde knew that the Trailblazers were peaking. If they were going to bring the championship back to Portland, this was the year.
The Bulls were a very good team. They had been playing well all season long. They had won the previous year, and we knew we had our work cut out for us. We were looking forward to it.
The Bulls blew out the Trailblazers by 33 in Game 1, but Portland came back to win the second game in overtime. Then, with the series tied, the teams left Chicago and headed west.
Well, we lost Game 3, and it was a disappointment because it was 1-1, and we had a chance to go up in that series. And I thought if we had won that game, I thought we would have had the upper hand. And we lost that game because I think we were just mentally tired. We had gone through a lot in the last couple of months, and it was just we were at a point where we were just fatigued, and it showed in our play. But give the Bulls credit. They played really well.
In Game 4, an exhausted Portland team rallied and beat the Bulls by 6. If they could win the 5th game at home, the Trailblazers would have the momentum going back to Chicago.
Well, after Game 4, we won 93-88. At that point, I thought we had an excellent chance to win the series. It was 2-2, and I thought anything could happen. And we were just elated just to be playing as well as we were, and we thought we could even play better.
But Portland fell apart. They lost the 5th game by 13 points. 2 days later, and despite a valiant effort, the Trailblazers lost the 6th game in Chicago to fall short of the championship once again.
On offense, rebounds give your team a second chance. On defense, rebounds take second chances away from your opponents. Once the ball is in the air, assume it will be a miss. For all rebounding, the key is position. The first step in defensive rebounding is to think miss. The second step is to block out your opponent.
Pivot into your man, then move laterally to keep your body between him and the ball. Keep your eyes up. Have your arms out and up. When you jump, bring your elbows in and explode towards the ball. If you can touch it with one hand, you can touch it with both.
When you make the defensive rebound, you need to protect the ball.
Land facing the basket, then pivot about 90 degrees, keeping your back to the opposing players. Crouch over the ball to protect it.
The goal of a defensive rebound is to establish possession. If you can make a safe, quick pass, then do it. Otherwise, play it safe and hold on to the ball. Offensive rebounding is about wanting the ball more than your opponent. The first step is to think miss. The second step is to avoid contact and don't get blocked out.
If the defender is between you and the basket, put one foot between his legs and rear pivot. Spin off him with your hands and go for the inside position. Keep your eye on the ball.
If you grab the ball with both hands, go right back up for the shot. If you don't have a free shot, bring the ball outside to start a new offensive pattern.
In the 1992-93 season, Clyde Drexler missed 33 games due to injury. In the playoffs, the Trailblazers lost to the San Antonio Spurs in the first round. The next year, Clyde passed Bill Walton to become Portland's all-time leading rebounder. But in the postseason, the Trailblazers lost to Hakeem Olajuwon and the soon-to-be champion Houston Rockets.
I was in basically a no-win situation. I thought they needed to get young, and I wanted to be on a team that had a legitimate chance to win the NBA championship. And so it was a great time to leave that organization. I'd been there for many, many years. A lot of great memories, a lot of good people I'd worked with, and you know, it was a sad moment to leave it. But in terms of your competitive spirit, you always want to be in a position where you feel wanted and where you have a chance to win.
The Portland management asked Clyde where he would like to go. Drexler said Houston. His hometown team had just won the championship and would be contenders again. On Valentine's Day 1994, the Portland Trailblazers gave Clyde Drexler his wish.
Well, when I was traded to the Houston Rockets, a team that I grew up in, a city that I grew up in, a team that I'd followed my whole career, it was like a dream come true. I get a chance to play with Hakeem Olajuwon again. I get a chance to eat Drexler's barbecue. I had all my college friends and high school friends and family. It was like a dream come true.
The trade reunited college teammates Drexler and Olajuwon at a critical time. Hakeem, who had been the anchor of the Rockets, was out for 2 weeks with anemia.
Sorry, I was sidelined with anemia, and this was a very important time for the team because Clyde came to the team about 2 months or a month before that, and the players, most of the players were not comfortable right away. They were threatened by him.
Drexler had been Portland's leading scorer for years, so the other members of the Rockets were wary about how he would fit into their system. Clyde responded by concentrating on defense, passing, and rebounding.
And you can see everybody that they relax, realize that their position is not threatened. You know, Clyde, you know, he's looking at the big picture, which is winning the championship. So that make it much easier for the team to play with him. And when I came back, you know, the team just playing together.
Hakeem came back from his anemia, and he was rested and ready to go. He was really hungry. Besides having a hunger to repeat, I just think that we thought we were a better team than our record indicated.
Houston finished the season third in their division and barely qualified for the playoffs. Nobody gave the defending champions much of a chance.
Our team had won 46 games. We were the 6th seed in the playoffs. We weren't particularly happy about the way we were seeded. We thought we were a much better team. There were 3 teams that we had to go through that had all won 60 games, and we had to do it on their home floor.
In an amazing run, the Rockets defeated the Utah Jazz, Phoenix Suns, San Antonio Spurs to return to the NBA Finals. This time their opponents would be Shaquille O'Neal and the Orlando Magic.
We had the opportunity to go to Orlando and win 2 games on their home court.
And you can see the competitive nature of Drexler in the first half, when we were down 19 points, carrying the team, playing defense, running down, scoring, bring us back. And when I saw his energy level, that was a motivation for me to, also to strive to take it to a higher level.
The Rockets overcame the Magic lead to send the game into overtime. Houston won when Olajuwon tipped in the ball at the buzzer.
And that was a backbreaker for them because they had led the whole game by 20 points. We come back and we steal that game, and they were down and out.
The Rockets stole the second game of the series at Orlando and headed back to the Houston Summit. Clyde put on his best performance of the series in Game 3 with 13 rebounds, 7 assists, and 25 points, including a dunk that sealed the victory for Houston.
And anytime Clyde is beating his man and Shaquille lean to help, Clyde will find the open man, give it to me. So I was making out of open jumpers because he was causing so much trouble for them, and they were double teaming him, which was freeing me up for wide open jumper.
The Magic were all but dead, and Houston routed Orlando by 12 points in Game 4. The sweep gave Houston its second championship and Clyde Drexler his first.
To finally get the championship ring was a blessing for me. Not only to do it with Hakeem, a guy that I'd known like a brother for so many years, but to do it in my home city when all of the odds were against us was very rewarding and will be one of the best memories of my basketball career.
The career of Clyde Drexler has been shaded by irony. A great ball handler and an outside shooter, he is known for his dunks. In an era when outspoken and flashy basketball stars draw our attention, he is the ultimate team player. When this man, who carried his club for so many years, finally won the championship, it was as a supporting player.
When I have retired from basketball, I think the best way I like to be remembered is a guy that came, not as a guy that had a 44-inch vertical leap, that could dunk from past the free throw line, that could score 20-plus points a night every night he played, but as a guy that was a consummate teammate, a guy that only wanted to win, had no other motives whatsoever, that competed. Those are the basics of how to play small forward. Remember, you are the swingman. You will be asked to do it all. If you practice hard and think quickly, you can become an outstanding ball player.